As the question stems suggest, in explanation questions, one generally sees a discrepancy between the premise and the conclusion, a paradox, and the question seeks a resolution of the paradox. Therefore, a correct explanation statement should clarify the absurdity or paradox, thereby filling the missing link. The missing link approach works wonderfully well in these questions because the gap is all the more clearly visible in this question type. Let's take an elaborate example. Which of the following resolves the paradox in the reasoning? This is the reasoning given. The GDP of Zatora has grown by 15% during the tenure of the current political party. This growth is the highest among all tenures over the last 50 years. However, the party has not done a good job and must not get another tenure. So you see, the information given, the premise given, is something positive, but the conclusion is something negative. Therefore, you see a paradox. The missing link is, of course, between high GDP growth and yet the conclusion that the party did not do a good job. The correct explanation statement must fill this missing link. Here are some choices. The growth in GDP was primarily due to growth in the private sector, and the government had an insignificant role in it. Moreover, the crime rate was at its all-time peak in 50 years. So you see, the credit for the GDP growth has been taken away, and something negative has been introduced. Therefore, this statement definitely resolves the paradox. Another example. During the same tenure, GDP of other similar economies grew by more than 20%. The term similar economies is very important because this shows an analogy before making the comparison. Even this is a fine explanation statement, suggesting that 15% GDP growth was not good enough. Another example. During the same tenure, inflation rose by 20%, the highest growth in more than 100 years. Please do not think that this information is irrelevant. Remember, gross domestic production as well as inflation are matters of economy, and the two are closely interrelated. So even this works as a reasonably fine explanation statement. This was the concept, friends. GMAT shots are deliberately kept brief. For an elaborate explanation, please watch the Stage 1 conceptual videos in our program. Thanks for watching.